Hello crafty friends and welcome to day 3 of my holiday card series of 2019. Today I'm actually going to be making 2 cards that are super easy and simple. Here are the list of supplies that I am going to be using. Is this adorable stamp set by Mama Elephant that it's this little reindeer. I just think they're just so cute, so I had to use them and I love using them again and again. I am also going to be using an embossing folder, and yes, this is a birthday embossing folder, but I am only going to be using a piece of it, so I actually wanted it for the little dots at the bottom. I am using this matte stack washi tape, and it's basically a 6x6 sheet of washi tape, embossing powder by Recollections, Versamark ink, and my powder tool. I'm also going to be using my reverse tweezers for these. So before we get onto the card, let's go ahead and get started with the coloring. I am going to be coloring these little images here. So I stamped them onto a piece of Bristol Smooth paper, this using VersaFine Onyx Black ink. And I am using my Zig Clean Color Real brush markers to color them. I am using 2 different markers to kind of blend them in to create a little bit of interest to the image. But if you wanted to use a water brush, you could do that as well because these are watercolor markers. However, if you're using it on a paper that is not watercolor, just be mindful of how much water your brush has so that way your paper can handle it and it doesn't mess up your project. So because I am doing the exact same thing pretty much on all of the little reindeer, coloring them as I go, I like to do this in an assembly style type of thing. Basically coloring all of the brown at once, coloring all of their bodies. So I don't have to keep switching back and forth. As you see, I kind of started doing there. Sometimes I want to make sure that, that's how I want to do it. So I will be switching back and forth, and once I finish with all of the brown coloring, I'll move on to a different color, and so on and so forth. But because I don't want to keep on rambling, or I really don't have much to say right now, you guys can see the coloring and how my process is. A lot of you had said that you enjoy watching the coloring process, so I am going to leave it here, but I am going to leave you with some music, and I'll come back in a little bit just so we can put the card together. Okay, so now that I am done coloring, I am going to be cutting these images with the coordinating dies, and I'm just going to be lining them up and doing that off camera. I am also going to be trimming that paper that I embossed with the embossing folder, and I am going to be trimming it to have two little pieces that are about 3.5 by 2 inches. So they are going to be creating somewhat like a tag. I ended up only using the two, and what I did is I kind of put them over a piece of blue paper. So this is the ones that I am going to be using, and I used a pencil to draw like little snowbanks. So I created the lines and cut them with my scissors. Then I flipped the paper and created another one going the opposite direction. So I will show you in a second how they looked, but I did the exact same thing to both. So I'm trying to make them similar, but at the same time not the same. So you can see here how they're going to look. They just look so adorable. And I think those little dots from the embossing folder look like little like snow. So that's why I decided to use that embossing folder. So I'm lining up the second piece of paper so that way I can cut it as well and add it to my second tag. So once I glued everything together onto the little tags, I cut two pieces of my washi tape paper, and I am going to be just putting it straight onto my card base and then using that little tag to put on it. I like to put things at an angle, so that's what I'm using, sort of using it like a piece of pattern paper. I am just putting some twine here that it's red and white to just add a little bit more red or a pop of red onto the card, and I am just going to be gluing it straight onto my card. So that's pretty much what completes my card. I am going to be adding a sentiment in a bit, but I'm doing the exact same thing to the other card. I am using a smaller piece of paper because I don't want to waste it, so I just kept the rest of it. One was about 3.5 and the other one just a little bit shorter. So I'm just gluing the little tags here as well. And I actually did this one on the opposite direction, but I think they look super adorable. They're similar, but at the same time, they're different. Now for the sentiment, I am going to be using the sentiments that come with the stamp set that says, "May your holidays be bright and jingle all the way." So with the little reindeer that's holding the candy cane, I decided to put the jingle all the way because it looks like he's dancing. I cut two strips of black paper or black cardstock that were about 4 inches by half an inch, and I'm using my mat here to kind of line them up, and my powder tool just to remove any static. So I am stamping it using my Versamark ink, and I am going to be embossing them. So for these, I used the Recollections white embossing powder. I am also going to be using a piece of a coffee filter. So this is basically what I use to catch my embossing powder when I am heat embossing. So that way I can dump it back into the jar easily. So here I have both my sentiments. You can see how cute they're gonna look already. Once I heat set it, I decided to go ahead and create little fishtail banner onto each end of the banner. Like I said, these were about 4 inches, so they're just a little bit smaller than the whole card base, but I wanted them to go across the whole bottom of it. So here I am creating those fishtail banners, and the easiest way to do it is just kind of cut through the middle and then angle your scissors and cut to the center. This is just the easiest way to do it. And you can measure if you want to, but I just decided to eyeball it. Now I'm just popping those sentiments on with some foam tape, so that way it adds a little bit of interest. But that pretty much completed my cards. As you can see, these are super easy and simple. And also, if you are making a lot of cards, they're a pretty easy card to mass produce if you'd like to. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you are a subscriber or a new subscriber, welcome. I would love to have you back. Make sure that you click that bell, and I catch you guys on the next video. Bye-bye.